Welcome to another riveting episode of Beyond Boundaries, a talk show where we bring you the inspiring and insightful journeys of leaders who are changing the landscape of education in India. Today, I have with me an educator with over 30 years of experience in education. Beyond her professional experience and achievements, her journey as a writer, speaker, and adventurer, as well as her holistic approach to life and education, are truly remarkable. Please welcome the Director Principal of Seth Anandaram Jaipuria School, Principal Nambiar. Ma'am, it is a pleasure to have you with us here today.
Thank you so much. I think I'm also looking forward to some great conversation.
Absolutely, ma'am. So let's start with the early days, the good old days. What inspired you to become an educator and to follow this journey, and what shaped your philosophy?
So it's a question I think which everybody asks and it's very interesting. I started my journey with the corporate world. I was working with the airlines, and when I had my kids and I was looking for schools, I found the principal is actually a very scary figure of a school.
Yes.
We were all scared as kids going to a principal's office. So when I was looking for admission for my kid, for my little 2 years, I used to wonder, my money, my child, and still I have to be tremble in front of the principal. So I thought, let me try and change the education system where everybody should be more approachable, and I traveled all over. So my concept was of a very happy school, which is open, transparent, people can just walk into each other's room. So with that in mind, I entered education, and since I did not have any qualifications, so I joined as a music teacher.
You joined as a music teacher.
So I used to teach music.
So did you have any hands-on experience on instrument or vocal? What was?
So it's very funny. That's why they say, and I always tell the students in my school, always, you should always have some skill up your sleeve, because you don't know when it comes handy in life. So I had learned in my school days for 6 months how to play guitar. Okay. And when my kids were born, for my kids, I picked up this small little keyboard and I used to play songs on that. And that was my only. So I still remember my first day when I walked in, and of course, songs and all I could sing. I've always been a singer. I mean, I love singing, no professionally qualified,
So
but I could sing.
That was a hobby.
That was a hobby. Yeah. But then after a week, they bought this huge keyboard and they said, okay, play. I looked at it and I said, wow. And that time there was no Google where I could go and learn, okay? Because now you have online learning. But somehow I think I'm the kind of person, I don't give up. I take up as challenge. I said, ye bhi kar denge. Isme kya hai?
So ma'am, we did not need the reasons. We know that you are an alumnus of Lady Sri Rama and New Nordic School in Finance in Finland. So how these experiences in your journey have, shaped your thinking about, if I'm going to be in a particular role, or if I'm going to be the principal of the school, this is something that I'm going to be, bringing change into, or something you have felt that this is missing that I have felt in my own journey.
So Lady Shri Ram is my alma mater, but New Nordic School is the organization which I worked with. So that helped me in changing my, maybe my thoughts about education, because Finland is much ahead than us in terms of the classroom pedagogy. If you ask me what I used to think, what I will become, I never thought I'm going to become a principal, or I never thought I'll become a teacher. I mean, those dreams don't come to you when you're in school or college, right? Teacher kaun banta hai aajkal, tab bhi kaun banta tha. So it was, I just used to imagine a cushioned chair and somebody carrying my leather bag. That was my dream. अब वो कैसे पूरी होनी थी वो नहीं पता था, but वो तो determined था कि एक दिन एक बहुत बड़ी leather chair जिसमें पीछे से कुछ high होगा, उसमें बैठेंगे, and there'll be somebody who's carrying my leather bag and there's a newspaper on my table. I used to see that picture almost every day.
So the goal was clear, but the path was still to figure out.
Because I didn't know how I'm going to reach there. Yeah, but I also used to dream my name written in the newspapers, so I could see it, Shalini Nambiar. And these dreams, I'm not lying, were very vivid. Very, very vivid,
So was it something that you try to visualize and manifest it, or something you were what many dreams are there? Are we talking about those?
See, I'm a dreamer. Okay, that song, I'm actually a dreamer. I dream very big. मैं अपने बच्चों को भी बोला है कि अगर आपको छोला भटूरा भी बेचना है ना, be the best. You should make a difference. Don't lead an average life. Even to my school students, the world is full of average people. You have to do something out of the box that people notice you, people remember you, because there's only one life you live. And in that one short life, success is different for everybody. For you, it may be money. For him, it may be a car. For some, it's a house. But for me, success is where you're able to make a difference in somebody's life. For me, that is success. I may not have a house, car, anything. But if I'm able to influence some people, make somebody happy, I think that is a real success for me.
So the message here is be clear on your goals, and if you can change somebody's life by helping them, definitely do that. So I think that's very inspiring for me as well, because if I can make a difference in somebody else's life just by helping them, it can make a huge difference in the other person. I'm not sure what kind of value I might be adding, but then again, it is something that could be exponential or a very small part. Still, I'll get that gratitude of helping. So, ma'am, what insights from while working with the New Knowledge Store? What insights you thought this is something that I will definitely do it again?
So their education system, of course, see, the country has got very less kids. Firstly, the number of kids in the classroom is very less. I mean, if you go to Finland, I think you'll find one person on a road. It's like that. And they love dark and grey colors. I still don't know how it's the happiest country, but it is. And because I think they're internally happy. You don't need things to be happy. And what is very unique in their education system is the child is allowed to be able to be himself and discover his innate strength. Where a child is encouraged to question, child is allowed to move around from one place to another, So there is a lot of difference, and that since the numbers are less, the teacher is spending enough time with each child, more focus on personalized attention, more focus on mindfulness, and more focus. The child goes to school at the age of 7.
Yep.
यहाँ की तरह नहीं 2.5 साल में बच्चे को भेज दो, उसको बेचारा अभी दूध पीना नहीं आया पर स्कूल जा रहा है. So वहाँ पे क्या है, because see, the early education is now, it's very nice that in India we have paid so much attention. The government has moved their prerogative that early education is important.
Shift is happening
It
now.
has happened.
Yeah.
It has happened. But what is because one thing we have to realize that in the early years, the 0 to 10 is a very crucial age where all your attitude and behavior are formed. And you cannot make a difference after that. And that is the time, if a parent has a great influence, and same way a teacher has a great influence, God forbid if you get a bad teacher, you've had it. So it's very important, early education, and I'm really happy that the government has put in now with the NEP a lot of changes which have come in, and I think that is the most beautiful thing which is happening in our country.
So, ma'am, you emphasize on child-centered learning. Even while coming into the school, I saw your vision statement over there: happy and confident child-centered. So, what does that mean to you, and how do you implement that in your school?
So, see, our group's mission is very clear. We want a happy, empowered, enthused, excel. Those are the 3 words we use. And the whole idea is that whatever we do, it's around those 3 words that we must, because if you,
So
every
those are the
person,
guiding principles, I would
see,
say.
every person in the school should know the vision. That's the first thing. Most of the places you go, people don't know what's the vision of your company. They don't know. So whether it's a child, whether it's a support staff, whether it's a teacher, they should know, or a parent. So the vision is plastered everywhere, even in my room at the back, because it's very important that you know where are we heading. So it's like having a goal. If you don't have a goal, ऐसे तो ना हम चल देंगे कि चलो कहीं भी चल दें.
It would be like shooting in the dark.
So what we try and do is we build everything around it. So how do we build empowered classrooms is where children are allowed to question. Like just now, a group of kids came. They've started the anti-bullying squad. They've got their badges made. There's no teacher who's helping them. It's just encouraging. There is a group of kids who run this entrepreneurship program. They are building on a startup which they'll be presenting. So we have a tie-up with this Thorin School of Sweden, Business Sweden. And like we have a Shark Tank, they have something called, I don't know, Dragon something it's called.
Dragons Den, I guess.
Yeah. So our children are creating a project to present there. So we encourage children to do things for themselves. And I think that is very important, whether you are in grade 1 or in grade
So
12.
does this exposure come after the third class, like grade like from 6th onwards, or any student can contribute on any basis that they work?
See, the whole idea is that you encourage all the 5,000 kids in the school, okay? Some children will come up, some children are introverts. What is very important as an educator and as a parent, don't try and change a child's personality. Like there are some kids who are introverts. You cannot make them extroverts. So you give them something which they like. They might not like to be in the public eye. They might like to sit in the classroom, but they might be very good in reflection. They might be very good in reading books.
To play on their strengths.
Yeah. So I think that is very important as an educator to be able to recognize, and that's what we try and do at our school. Because I can't say we do it, because it's always try. This is important.
So, ma'am, what are your goals for the next 5 years for your school, or do you work on a year-on-year goal? Like, how do you plan that? What is your strategy behind it? We'd like to know.
So as a school, of course, there's no personal goal. We have a goal as a group and we are working on a particular thing, but at the moment it's still in the pipeline because the planning is going on. We want to create a unique USP of our school, and I think I would not like to reveal it now because it's underway. Yeah, we're working on it. But what is most important is the aim, the drive, the mission, the vision, or everybody is working towards where I think each child is valued, he's safe, and he's able to discover his strengths and weaknesses. Because, and of course, this school, especially our school, stands out for academic rigor. We have had like children who have cleared JEE, we have toppers, national toppers we have had from here. So academic rigor is there, a very important part of our school. But what is important is how do we reach that path? So, because with the AI, there are a lot of changes coming. So there's a lot of integration of technology in our classrooms, which teachers are using, children are exposed to. There are a lot of new things which we have come up with, which is helping us to reach our goal. Because at the end of the day, our vision is very clear, and this is what we aim to reach at, because we can't increase numbers, we already have 5,000 and we are full. We have also started because we wanted our parents to get a little feeler of what is international curriculum about. So we have introduced Cambridge also. And we have got a one-section school for Cambridge in this area, but in a different building. What is important is we wanted to give parents a choice. So you can either choose CBSE or you can choose Cambridge.
So are you having any I just wanted to understand, like, if you give a parent the choice, do they do the research in terms of, we will go with CBSE or we want to go with an international curriculum? Because
it
depends on the exposure of the parents.
Depends on their exposure, but whatever parents we have, they're very happy. It depends on their choice. I, as a leader, for me, both curriculums are good because I'm sitting on this chair where I have to sell both.
Yeah.
So it is exactly, but what we do is we make them see that what is the difference between two curriculums, how it is. We have a lot of orientation sessions. Actually, we have not orientation. We have started this year something called immersive learning experience.
Okay.
So where we invite parents in small groups and let them feel what it is to be in a classroom.
Okay. So you're directly
Irrespective of whether
okay.
it's CBSE or Cambridge.
Okay.
So make them understand what is different in education. They don't know about NEP. What is the difference which is coming?
So do you have like different resources or teachers for different curriculums, or is it something that, the training, like you mentioned, like the training will be provided to each and every member on your...
So see, we have a set rule that 100 hours of training each teacher of Jaipuria has to undergo. So where we have 50 hours, we have our own training institute called Samarthya Teachers Training Academy, where we provide teachers, they provide training not only internally, but even externally, and that's pretty popular. Like at the moment, all of us are undergoing training on AI and how the world will look like. And it's interesting, it's a 6-month course. But for Cambridge,
is it generative AI or...
It's all, everything. It's a 6-month long course. Every Saturday we sit down. We don't go party, we sit down and do this course.
But was this something like provided by a third party agency or something?
So
like
the academy which does this, they have only done everything. They've got speakers from all over the world. In fact, it's a great lineup of speakers who we listen, What is important is that whether it's Cambridge or CBSE, we gave teachers the option that who would want to opt for Cambridge, because I think the first choice should be given to your own teachers. And there were some who wanted and some we hired from externally. Then they underwent a training because the training is very important for a Cambridge teacher, because those teachers get trained by Cambridge. So most of our teachers are professionally, they're qualified now. So now last year we started till grade 5. This year is running till 6. Next year we're opening grade 7th. Yeah, one class at a time.
So ma'am, you mentioned previously that you focus on academics. What about extracurricular or co-curricular activities apart from academics? Not every child, we're talking about from my experience. I would say, not a good student in terms of academics, but then again, I was into sports. I wanted to go out, very introvert, I would say, in a way, but not, I couldn't speak in front of an audience at that point of time. So what kind of extracurricular co-curricular activities that you have introduced and you were looking forward to add on? So what about those?
So I'm sure you saw the beautiful field, sports field. We have had this girl, Avni Tripathi. She's played nationals and her dream is to go in the Olympics. So she may. She's a table tennis whiz kid. She's undergoing training at Chennai right now for this camp. So we've produced some excellent people in sports, music, dance. These are integral part of our curriculum. So like every year we have a huge Founders Day where we have 100% participation. I mean, it's a huge school, so you can imagine the numbers. And so every child participates. We have a sports day where every child participates. We've also introduced TEDx from
all 5,000 students.
We divide them into two, 3 groups.
Is it mandatory for them to participate? Or?
It is mandatory, unless they are traveling or something, or some parent has some issue. But mostly it's all the kids who participate. So it's not about everybody is on the stage. See, that's what I'm trying to explain. It can be like there can be a child who is helping parents to sit down. There's a child who is comparing. There's a child who is welcoming. So children and there are some children last year, like we made all the props by the kids. So there are some kids who are artists and introvert. They don't want to go on the stage. Okay, so you work on the props. So it is totally a children's show. I mean, guided, of course, by the teachers. I mean, we're brilliant teachers, but it is totally focused on students. Yeah. So like we had this huge exhibition and it was wonderful what the kids came up with. And it was about the future, how it will look like. It was all,
So does every class have their own theme, or how did you?
So we allowed them, they picked up what they wanted to showcase. And basically, see, it has to be, I feel, gone are the days when school has to do, everything becomes like a wedding ceremony, and where they miss out so much on their academic. Koi padhta nahi hai, padhata nahi hai. So I think what is important is what you're learning in the class you showcase. So like you can see across, we have the Atal Lab. This is one of our unique, where children have come up with beautiful projects. They have made drones. They have made like excellent things.
They made drones?
Yeah. And they taught the adopted school. We have adopted school in the vicinity, government school, where they went and taught those kids how to do it. They helped them fly a drone. They put cameras in the drone, I think something they were doing. What is important is that, so you give children an exposure of everything. It has to be like, you must have seen the radio jockey studio. I think that's a very unique feature. I don't think so any school has, but we have it. And what we do there is like how do you get 5,000 kids in the assembly? It's not possible. If I start doing on the ground, it'll be like maybe 1,000 kids. Baki school to ghum raha hai na. So to develop a sense of discipline, our assemblies are very unique, where all the 5,000 kids, all the teachers are in their classroom on the screen, because we have a smart board in every class. And we do the assembly from the radio jockey studio. So we have a prayer, yoga, children.
It's done through the video conferencing in a way, or with the smartphone. Okay, and that's very nice.
So every child attends.
A tech-enabled school.
So I think when we call about how we're using technology, I think you have to use it to your advantage. Like I tell parents, instead of sending a mail, I want to meet you, then you wait outside, I may be busy. Let's fix a Zoom call. And I'm doing this. lot of parent meetings I hold on Zoom because you are working, the parent is working. Principal से आपने मेरे शक्ल थोड़ी ना देखना, आपको complain करना है या आपको praise करना है या कुछ भी करना है. Let's talk over Zoom.
Do you have a dedicated time on a day? Like
No. If they want, like, we just fix whenever I'm free. Of course, we have like coffee mornings every Friday, but parents don't come. When you tell them you can come, they don't come. If you tell them you can't come, then they'll come. That's a parent.
So, but based on your experience and like, tech-enabled classroom, your radio setup here, you're talking to parents on Zoom. What are your thoughts on extracurricular, co-curricular events like Olympiads? Like, do they have a benefit for a student or a teacher and as a parent, or is it something that's just going on, and everybody is doing it?
See, I tell you, a school runs, right? It has its own exams, final exam, half yearly, which is part of the school. I think the Olympiads, there are so many assets and there are too many of them. I think it creates that sense of excitement. Because firstly, those papers are made by experts. They're not made by a school teacher who's teaching a class. So they give you a very holistic view of the child, where the child is. Because I think now where you are, and a child is able to understand. So I think, and our children are very open to it. Our parents are very open, because it gives them an idea where my child is. Because this part of town is a very academically driven society. So Olympiads are, I always say that it's a good idea.
So is it something that is also, like the students are also interested in? Because, one is you're having unit tests, then your midterms, then your finals. On top of that, now there's an Olympiad exam. If I'm a driven person or a driven student, I want to become a scientist or any engineer or a pilot. I know my subjects, this is what I have to learn, and I'm very intrigued about it. But there are certain students, I would say, who are still figuring it out what they want to do. It's not that they are in the school, they have to study or do something in academics. They can also, take performing arts or any other field as well. And that's also success. It's not that you will become a pilot or engineer, that's a success, or a doctor is a success.
Sure.
So, do they have the same zeal or enthusiasm in terms of anything that is something apart from the school curriculum?
They have. I mean, I can vouch. I mean, in my school, children are very excited about these kind of exams, and it's their choice, but I think the level of participation is high.
And how much are you involved in the process of,
See, the process is we of course make the children aware, and then they come forward and then they fill up the form and they sit for these exams, and we do prepare them. We give them like 2 classes, or maybe the teacher helps them out, because as a school it's my responsibility, right? If anything is happening in my school, I think we need to take up that onus on ourselves and help the child. Yeah, you should. I mean, I think that's our duty. We can't just leave everything on parents.
Yeah. You can't work both ways, you help parents, and parents are also vouching for your teachers. So in terms of deciding the curriculum or the content for the school, what factors and what challenges have we faced, and what factors do you consider like, okay, if this is not something, the curriculum or the content, I am not even going to take a look, or not even going to sit across the table. Could you talk about that decision making?
CBSE has a set curriculum. So especially in higher grades, you have to follow that, because all the board examinations papers are made on that. Now all the JEE, everything is based on the NCERT, we all know it. So I think that is very important. So you cannot run away from the basic curriculum. What you can do is you can add that own factors, and that is how the school creates its own differentiating thing. Like now what NEP is saying is that you bring in a lot of project-based learning, you bring in a lot of collaboration, you bring in a lot of group discussions. So what happens is there's a curriculum set, but how do you implement it in the classroom? For that, it is very important that you train the teachers, give them the power to be able to teach in a way which is suitable for that child on that day. See, if I'm teaching you in a particular way today, maybe tomorrow you may not learn that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not be in a good mood. So how do I teach you? So the teacher needs to be able to, have that power and yeah.
So let's say, because there are so many publishers out there in the market, like you mentioned that now government has a set of rules, it refuses it policies that everyone has to follow, and they are doing it to a good extent as well. But then there are so many players in the market. everyone is saying NEP enabled, but as soon as they open the book, this is not something that is, what we have studied regarding the policy. So what factors or what are the 3 non-negotiable factors for you? Like, ye to boss nahi hai, sir.
See, I think it's very important for the book to be child-friendly. The child should be able to pick up and read. And it should have the correct content. That is very important. I mean, if I'm looking at a book, that's what I'll look. See, somehow, most of the books are similar. The only difference you'll find is in the content, in the presentation. And I think the language makes a lot of difference. Though, you don't want an error in a book.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes there is an error, there is a spelling error, because the child will pick up that. So I think it is very important that so we have a system, like whenever, just before the year start, like now September, October, we'll do that. For next year, the teachers sit in groups, they go through all the books. If they want to, put in any new books, they go through it, and then they give us with the reasons that why they're recommending this book, what is good about it, and why they want to remove the old book, what is the reason. So once you have that total analysis, I think it's very easy as a school to decide, because one thing very important is you cannot decide anything yourself. It's not the principal who makes a decision. It's the entire team, because if you involve them,
It's a collective effort.
then they take more responsibility of that particular
So
thing.
submit a report, you like, this was my finding, these are the pros, cons, what will happen.
And
if
we
we-
try to have it as a group, like, try and have the same books in our different schools. But sometimes we don't agree. Okay, maybe because my crowd may be different than our school in Lucknow or Kanpur.
So demographics also have.
Yeah, that have an impact. But we try very hard that we use the same book, because it's easier. So if a child goes from here,
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing.
So let's talk about student feedback. How do you incorporate student feedback, or is there a process here, like students have a suggestion box in every class, and then you go through that? This is something that we never thought, because you never know where a good idea might come from. So do you have that, or have you?
We have a lot of openness, firstly, I told you. We have a feedback box where children can go and put their ideas, their thoughts, their concerns, anything. They can just put it. Because one I have for myself, which is if they want to address something to me, they want to write their names, they can write. They don't want to write, they don't write. And
It could be anonymous.
it can be anonymous. And I get so many, you get so many in 10 days. It's like, because it's a huge school and it's so sweet. Some messages will come with just 3 lines. I love you, ma'am. That's it. But it's nice that they're able to.
And that makes your day. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
have to
of
read
course.
lines.
Of course, the feedback. And I think it's what I want is, I don't want children to develop. I think there should be an openness. There should be a transparency where I can go to my teacher and say, listen, I don't understand. I am not understanding. Can you repeat this? So that is something which is very important. And of course, teachers also take feedback from the children. Something as simple in a classroom. How was my lesson? I used to do that as a teacher. So how did I teach? Was it good or bad or just okay? So many children will tell me it's okay. Because I said, oh, that means I was really bad. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll come tomorrow and teach you. And it's fine.
That openness and communicating with them.
I, as a teacher, have always done that. And I encourage all my teachers. I will not say everybody does it, but even if 80% teachers do it, I think it's marvelous.
Yeah. So, man, we talked about technology integration in a classroom, your smart boards, having Zoom calls, and then talking about globalization have opened new doors that never existed before. And technology is kind of adding fuel to it.
Sure.
With the new tech giants having the AI award now,
Yeah.
Everyone has built their own AI model, and everyone is training in the world. Where do you see your school in terms of technology integration as compared to other schools in India, and school in the same vicinity here?
So I think we are working a lot on technology integration. And I think our children have been doing very well in that also. Like if I talk about technology integration, some of our projects, we created a project that how a sensory prototype he created, which could sense if a stray dog is passing by and is hungry. So, and then we have these tools which have been identified. Like let's say the IT team identifies, these are some new tools which have come out, then they share it with the teachers.
Okay, there's a separate IT team here.
Yeah. And then the teachers say, okay, fine, I think this I can use in my social science class, this I can use in my math class. So they pick up and they go through it. Then we even have like internal trainings, like maybe, because it's very important for them to now know technology, otherwise they'll be left behind. So we do a lot of trainings internally. We have, even for students, we have like mobile labs. So we have trolleys which are taken in the classroom where children can work. In our library, we have, bought this ChatGPT 4, which is available to the children. So if they want to go and ask anything, or teachers also have access. So what is important is you have to create that environment.
Yeah.
And you have to understand the future is.
To give them that environment, you can use those tools.
I mean, if we are thinking, नहीं ये सब नहीं होएगा, किसी ने नहीं सोचा था 20 years back कि mobile आएगा, but आ गया. And now imagine.
Now mobile are talking to us.
Yeah, and they're hearing everything. That's the worst.
Yeah. You have to shut down.
Yeah.
Live listening.
And now I'm learning everything on Instagram Reels, how to shut that down, how to do that. And I did something silly. Now my phone is asking me to verify it's you after every 2 seconds. But I don't know what. So never follow Instagram blindly, children. Because my phone has gone donkey now. Every time I press anything, and I've tried my level best, opened everything up, but it still says verify it's you.
I mean, we're laughing over, but this is a very serious topic, right? Like, are you also giving your students sessions on, how to use technology?
So we have internal sessions, and now we are inviting Mr. Rakshit Tandon. He's coming. He'll be talking to our kids about, because that is very important. When you're moving towards technology, it's important to know the pros and cons and how to use it.
Because there are a lot of things available.
So another thing, I feel, I was reading it somewhere, that, a teacher should not become a friend of a child. Social media. I don't know where I heard.
Okay.
But I think my message to the world is just totally wrong. You should become a friend, because then you know your child much better.
Okay.
Because what is important, like let's say I'm teaching you, you're a grade 10 student, and you're a very happy child, and you write a lot on Facebook, and suddenly you stop writing. Now that a warning bell should ring in if I'm a really concerned teacher, okay, what went wrong? Because you have more access to know what their life is, because it is the world now.
Outside the class.
So I think it's very important. I heard in some schools there are restrictions, but I think it's very important to know where the children are, where they are heading. I mean, you don't have to force yourself. Don't go under different names like some parents do. They want to keep a track. I think it's very important to be honest to the child. You're building a sense of distrust by hiding your name and becoming like.
And then pointing them out.
Yeah,
Something
like
wrong.
when my daughter sent me a friend request, of course, after 5 years, she was on Facebook, and she suddenly realized my mother is very active on social media, I better make. So I wrote, I said, wow, now I am on the elite circle. So, but it's fine. I mean, I didn't get into her privacy, but when she needed me, she approached and she said, okay, be my friend. Yeah.
So it was the other way around. You were before.
I didn't force her. Oh, you make me my friend. No way. I mean, I'm married for what, 38 years? Now I've become my husband's friend on Facebook.
I mean, I still haven't added my parents on social media.
So it is important. I mean, it's something you should not erode somebody's, but to bring up children as a teacher, I think it's very important to tell them. Because see, kids are smart. And you cannot be one step ahead, which you should be in knowing and guiding them.
So, ma'am, if you could add any one subject in the curriculum that is not traditional, what would that be?
That is not traditional. I think the most important thing which I would add is values.
What?
Because values hota hai, moral science class hota hai. But I think if you look at the new generation, I think somewhere the roots, our values are missing. I mean, I know more about maybe a prairies or a temperate island, but I do not know about my own country. I don't know about my own culture. So in our school, we do a lot. Like today, we had a beautiful assembly on Ramayana. So the children spoke about the lessons learned from Ramayana, which was the best. And they did their own research and presented. So I think what I want children, that's what I was telling you in our assemblies, we don't show them anything. We want them to create things and show us. Like sometimes, a day before yesterday, they were showing a PPT on something. I said, why don't you make it? I mean, instead of showing these, PPTs from YouTube and
Rather than
all,
asking for permission,
you
do it and
create.
show.
You create.
Yeah.
So they are going to do that now. So I think that is, for me, it is very important. क्योंकि आप कितने भी पढ़े लिखे हो, कितने भी आप, you may be a most qualified person in a room, but if you do not have values, you will totally not be successful, not be happy. So I think it's very important. Every second day I do a little story with the kids where I want to teach them, कुछ भी हो जाए, माँ बाप को मत भूलना कभी. They are very important. You have to respect them. And I think that is very important. And respect doesn't come, I tell parents also, don't buy expensive things for your kids. They don't need that. They need your time. So, you're looking on your phone and talking to your child. That's not the way you talk.
And nowadays, even like I see toddlers, like when they are crying, the parents will give their phone or tab and they play a YouTube channel so that at least they are not crying. But that is giving them a wrong message that every time they will cry and you will hand over the tab.
So it's better you read a book to your child.
Yeah.
And get him used to it.
But isn't that a lost art now, reading a book?
I think it's a lost art because parents don't read.
Yeah.
I will not blame the child. Child will pick up what he sees around, right? If at home, if at home parents are only not reading और आप बोलो school सिखाते, school कैसे सिखा देगा? आपका बच्चा हमारे school में how many hours? 6 hours रहता है. Rest of the hours he's at home. Now, if I always tell the parents, if you haven't picked up a book, I will never be able to make him a reader. When they see a dads and mom reading, they also pick up a book.
Pick up a book.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite quote or a motto that inspires you? Every morning, like what I do with it, I get up in the morning, I look in the mirror. I saw this video very long time back when I was in Calgary. I was like, you have to make sure that you are happy with it, and then only you'll be able to have that fulfilled life. So look in the mirror, say I love you 10 times, chant a mantra or something that inspires you. And do you have that or something, we just come to the school, you see happy faces and
I look at my dogs, my stray, and I say, yeah, I'm going to rock today.
So they jump on you in the morning?
I just want to be happy. I want to live a very happy life, जितने भी दिन रहना है. क्योंकि देखिए ना, मैंने एक बहुत अच्छा WhatsApp में सुना था कि we are all on a train journey. Okay, we all meet as in the train journey. who buys the tickets? Our parents. So अब पेरेंट्स के साथ हम बैठ जाते हैं ट्रेन जर्नी में, फिर हमारे सिबलिंग्स, फियांसे, बच्चे ऐसे आते रहते हैं लोग. बट वी डोंट नो वेयर द ट्रेन जर्नी, कौन कब कहाँ उतरेगा और कब हमारा टाइम कब आएगा. सो एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर देयर, द ओनली थिंग यू कैन डू इज टू बी हैप्पी एंड स्प्रेड हैप्पीनेस. सो इफ यू कैन मेक, I think, one person happy in a day, I feel very good about it.
So how do you balance your passion for writing, for speaking, and I would like to know about the adventure sports. Like
I'm a mountaineer and I'm a fitness freak.
Okay.
So I run for 20 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes aerobics in the evening, and try and walk. Don't look so shocked. Try and walk 8,000 steps.
Me definitely not that relaxing.
No, I'm very particular about it. Otherwise I feel sick. So I'm a mountaineer, but I can't go mountaineering now. Dream है कि Mount Everest कभी जाएंगे, पता नहीं अब God ने क्या लिखा है. But बहुत मुश्किल है, I think, with age, and I don't know. But that was one of the dream. But I have climbed Rudragera, that's a peak in Uttarakhand. That was at 19,000 feet. So we climbed that. We were a group of 40 girls. 40 girls. And I love adventure, yeah.
So that was your last mountaineering adventure?
हाँ, वो तो उसके बाद शादी हो गई, सब खत्म.
Then different adventures started out.
Then a different adventure started, yeah.
Okay. So what about your writing? Like, have you written many articles? Or do you have a journal?
I used to write articles, but I haven't written in a couple of days because now the world is all Instagram reels. आप नहीं पढ़ोगे 4 पेज का मेरा आर्टिकल, मैं आपको लिख के दे दूँ, मैं भी नहीं पढ़ूंगी. पर अब छोटा सा पैरा लिखिए which has got, so you have to learn the art of whatever you want to say in fewer words and which has an impact.
And it's also easier or a simple language.
Like so many people put articles in social media, we don't have the time to read. But if somebody puts a very compelling post, we read because it's short. Abhi, if you look at it, why Instagram is very popular? The Instagram reels are very popular because in 30 seconds you're moving. I mean, I don't want to see your whole what is happening, but I want to just see. So if it is impactful, I'll watch. But I love
It is also
writing.
having a negative impact because instant gratification is also messing up your cognition.
It is of course not all good. But I love reading books and I love writing. But time ही नहीं मिलता है. But I would, that's what I'm shifted to smaller writings.
So what's that one book that you would advise our viewers, your students, or anyone who is watching this, that they must read that?
So there are 2-3 books. One is of course Secret. Secret, The Secret, and it's a beautiful book. उसका कॉपी था आपका ये शाहरुख खान ने ओम शांति ओम में बोला था, अगर आप किसी चीज़ को बहुत दिल से चाहो तो सारी कायनात लग जाती है आपके लिए. And Secret talks about the power we have. Like if I want something, I can actually get it, but I don't know my power. We don't get up in the morning and say in the mirror, I love myself. No, I love you. We don't. Because हमको जब भी हम शक्ल दिखते हैं, हमें बहुत सारे डाउट्स दिखते हैं अपने में. We find ये ठीक नहीं है, ये इधर वो गलत है, नाक गलत है, जो भी है. So when we are fine, we are not even confident of our own self. So The Secret is a beautiful book where it talks about the power your human mind has.
A similar book, Power of the Subconscious Mind. It shows the same, with the
There's a second book which I really like, is the 3 books actually.
Okay.
Fish Philosophy. This is I use it a lot in my trainings because it speaks about that how from nothing you can make everything. The power of this is it's written, the philosophy emerged from fish market in some place in US where these guys used to sell fish, okay, and nothing was being bought. So then how they used play to make their fish sell. So they started enjoying themselves and their sales went up. So it teaches you that to do anything great, you have to be happy. आप खुशी नहीं है और शक्ल बना के आप बेच कौन आएगा?
And that is a very strong message here.
It's a very beautiful book.
Happy what you're doing.
Because especially for you guys, you're in the marketing and all that, you must read that Fish Philosophy.
What is it?
Fish Philosophy.
Fish Philosophy. Okay, perfect. One piece of advice that you would give me, your students, what would that be?
Dream big and believe in your dreams. You'll reach somewhere.
Has this worked for you and for anyone?
Of course, I'm sitting on a leather chair with a bag.
Okay, so now we are towards the end of our segment. This would be a rapid fire round. I'll just give you a word and you have to say what is the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Batila? Ambition.
Ambition, Shalini.
Salary. Courage.
Courage. What comes to my mind when I say courage? Courage, again, I think of myself, Shalini. Although I'm not self-conceited, I'm a very people's person. But I think I've gone through life. There are a lot of ups and downs in life. ये होता है ना, हर खुशी वाला चेहरा ये नहीं होता कि सब, But it's a power to be happy and courageous.
You go through that and you come out.
Yeah. Now I'll think of something else.
I would say Shalini naam pe aaya.
No, I'll say.
Okay. Values.
Values, children. Ethics, parents.
Indian education system.
Indian education system. I think, Mahabharat.
India on the global level.
India on the global level, I would say the G20.
What about Indian publishers?
Indian publishers. I'll have to really think about this because there are too many. There are too many who are very good. So I don't think so I can think of one.
Okay. Is it they are similar or there's no,
No, they have little difference. But these are have been there for years, so they are there.
So do you prefer, I'm going out of my way, do you prefer publishers who have both print material and digital material or something that is the scripted and digital part? Because most schools, in my experience, I'm telling you, I've not visited a lot, but there is a certain amount. What happens is, even if a publisher is giving the digital support, it is not being utilized because the teachers are not being trained or the management doesn't take that initiative to train their teachers. Print wala aa gaya to chal jata hai ki book se padha diya, but then digital wala, do you, because your classroom is...
See, I prefer both, and I think there should be a system where you are able to assess how much each teacher is using digital content, and there should be some sort of way where you encourage and motivate. See, when teachers find value in a thing, they will use it. You must understand. Of course, they are in their comfort zone, so training is required. So I think if what happens is somebody in India, the challenge is you sell a book, okay, and then the after-sale service is pretty bad. Let me be very honest. Somebody needs to come every quarter and say, okay, I'm going to do a class audit and check what is happening with the books, where they are, what is wrong, what is good. So I think that all will encourage teachers, and maybe like you have a video game. What is it? You don't get real money, but you want to keep playing because they keep saying, wow, excellent, and you move to the next. I'm addicted to so many 2-3 games. So I think some sort of that kind of a digital award to the teacher really helps. Maybe she gets a crown with a picture. I mean, I'm just thinking of mundane things, but crazy things.
Ideas.
Yeah, but some sort where the teacher is encouraged.
What about students?
Students, I don't think so is a problem. They will use the digital content because they are the digital nations. It's the parents who need more orientation. But the parent mind say, "Ye bachcha kar kya raha hai?" To time waste kar raha hai.
So I want to hear what is it about. Okay. So now coming back to the rapid fire, teachers.
Teachers, Mrs. Ghosh.
Mrs. Ghosh. Is she your right hand?
She's my English teacher, and she's still alive. She's on my WhatsApp group of.
Okay.
She would teach us Daffodils of Shakespeare, and I can still, visualize her sitting under a tree, moving her hands and teaching me. Excellent teacher. She actually came to see when I became the school head first time. She said, I don't believe it.
So was it a proud moment or
I felt very proud. Imagine my teacher coming to see me.
Yeah. So with that note, we'd like to conclude our conversation here with Principal Nambiar. We went through her journey, her ups and downs, what challenges she had faced, how she overcame those challenges, what was strategy behind the success of her school, how she uses her brain to educate her teachers, her management, her students, and her holistic approach to life. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was an honor with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.